This season of Medium at Large is brought to you by Seroquin, the luxe but affordable skincare line your skin's been thirsting for. With not one, not two, but 5 essential ceramides, yes, 5, Seroquin hydrates, restores, and protects your precious skin barrier. Say goodbye to dryness, say hello to a healthy, radiant glow exclusively at Chemist Warehouse. Let's go. It's sort of this validation about like I left the world without being able to communicate properly, or I couldn't say everything that I wanted to say.
I knew this was going to come up.
Welcome to Medium at Large. I'm David the Medium, and here you can expect some real, raw, and honest conversations around what spirituality actually means to show you that it's not supernatural, it's actually just supernatural. Each week I sit down with some familiar faces from all walks of life to show you how spirituality shows up for them. No filters, no fluff, just raw human stories around belief, doubt, and everything in between. And yes, every now and then, spirit might show up as well. So whether you're deeply spiritual, deeply skeptical, or somewhere in between, you're in the right place. Hey guys, welcome back to Medium at Large podcast. Today I have self-confessed nut job, but also breathwork facilitator and owner and founder of the Breath Haus. Welcome to Medium at Large, Ella Pike.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute
I
pleasure.
love that we did that intro.
Well, I did ask her when we started. I'm like, so this is what I want to introduce you. And then you're like, is there anything I'm missing? You're like, nut job. I'm like, don't tempt me.
Don't test me because I will.
No, you're not nut job. She's actually got a very balanced energy, ladies and gentlemen. But Ella, again, thank you. Welcome to Medium at Large.
Thank you so much for having me.
No,
I'm very
pleasure.
excited.
It's all mine. I was really excited to talk to you because I not only want to talk about breathwork, and I know it's been an incredible journey for you, but I was fortunate because you had me at an incredible event you did at the Loom Melbourne recently. And do you know that was the very first time I'd ever actually properly done a breathwork class?
Was it?
It was. And I was just...
what an experience.
Well, it really was because like as a psychic medium, and I know a lot of people listening can appreciate this as well, like we see all these modalities and a lot, we delve into it ourselves or we've practiced it before, but I never had the opportunity to really practice breath work. And I know that there's, videos on YouTube and all these things, but I was just waiting for the right moment, I guess. And I tell you, I took a friend of mine from Sydney, Gabriella, who hadn't ever done it before as well. And when we were sitting there, it was just the most calming experience. It really was. And I have visions when I sort of meditate in that sense, and I call it a meditation. Would you call it meditation?
Which one? The breath
Like
work?
breathwork. It's a form of meditation.
It's a form of meditation. Yeah. It's meditation for people who can't meditate, I always say.
Oh, that's perfect. That's the catch right there. Everyone.
Yeah, there we go.
But I was sitting there and I was getting incredibly clear visions in my head, like more clear than I would usually do. So I just want to talk about like your journey with breathwork because first and foremost, like not only with the Breath Haus, but how did you delve into it? So what was your experience with breathwork?
I thought it was absolute bullshit to start. I was very much the person who was like, oh, we're always breathing. Breathing's not going to do anything for me. And I say this all the time, but it was almost like I didn't believe that something so simple could do anything because all of these other things, like I'd had a very beautiful but very messy life up until finding breathwork and still, but very much more controlled now. But it was like I was very addicted to lots of different things. I was always self-medicating. I was always in the doctor's office with getting some sort of new tablet pill, and I just had a full nervous breakdown. And I finally kind of had to acknowledge all of the ways that I was suppressing myself and all of the ways that I was just not allowing myself to feel or not allowing myself to just truly experience anything. And this is when breathwork was like, hi, hello. And 3 people sent me the same Zoom link and these 3 people didn't know each other. And I was like, fine, I'll do it. And it was a 2-hour deep dive. And I was laughing as the facilitator was explaining at the start. And I was thinking, you sound like an absolute crazy person. And I'm very... I want to say 3-dimensional at that point. Like I was very much like black, white, that's it, nothing else. And I laid down to the session and I resisted it and I hated it. And I was like so sure that I was right. And then I just stayed with it. And I just had this experience that I can't even put into words. It was just like it was coming home to myself. And I'd always mocked that. I'd always been like, you're so home in your body. What do you mean? It's your body. And I mocked it because I didn't understand it. And then it was that exact moment when just one breath led to another and I was no longer in my head and I was there. I was present. I was just experiencing this high and this love and this feeling that I'd never been able to really experience.
Mm.
Maybe I had been able to experience it, but it was like
Not on that level.
a few Xanax deep or some MD on the couch, or,
Yeah.
you know, like it was never just so
Which
sober.
again takes you to your perfect state when you
Yeah,
do that. Yeah.
exactly. So it was never, I just had this like mind-altering experience the first time, and I felt everything that I'd always searched for, and that was enough for me to kind of honestly completely change the way that I looked about everything.
I love that.
Like everything. I went full down the rabbit hole of what else is down here. If
Yeah.
breathwork is doing this and breathwork is making me feel like this, I very much immersed myself in understanding a lot that I used to mock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I get it as a psychic medium. I was the
Mm.
same. And for those that maybe haven't experienced breath work or don't even know what it is, how would you explain it in a nice, simple, easy to understand
It's
term for everyone?
just simply like conscious awareness of your breath. It can be so simple. It can be as simple as just noticing one single breath. Like that is breath work. It can be, you know, well, this is what I always like to say. You notice, I mean, most people don't, but in any situation that you're in your life, the way that you're breathing is kind of deciding how you're interacting with the outside world. You know, like something happens, you hold your breath, something scares you, you hold your breath, you are really anxious, you're breathing quite fast, you're quite relaxed, you're breathing quite slowly. Like the way that you breathe is pretty much a very good decipher of what's happening externally. So bringing awareness to the way that you breathe and being able to kind of like manipulate it does crazy things. Like from literally one simple breath to a 2.5 hour deep dive.
I really do need to deep dive into it more
Yeah,
because
we'll do it.
I wish we would have practiced now maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a conversation that I've had regularly a lot as well. So it's funny that, you know, it ties in even what you're saying, but our breath is our life force. And, you know, the first breath we take is our soul entering the body, in my perspective. And even another podcast, pardon me, that I've recorded recently, we talked about that when someone crosses over, it's always on the final breath. So to be able to harness the life force like that, like it just makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much wisdom and insight that you can teach us all, Ella.
This is what I say. I say this at the start of my classes sometimes. It depends what intro I'm doing, but it's like our breath is our life force. We pay so much attention as a society to the water that we're drinking, the steps that we're taking. I mean, we should pay more attention to the water that we're drinking, but most of us are.
I love you said that because I always say that.
I'm like,
Listen.
seriously, like the steps we're taking, the food, like all of this kind of stuff. And then, you know, we're going to the doctor and we're asking for this and we're going to do talk therapy, and like not many, I mean, it's getting much louder, but when I first started, no one was looking at their breath. I was a nut job. See, nut job for
Self-confessed.
Yeah, self-confessed. I've said it. I was an absolute nutter for pushing this the way I pushed it for the first year in 2020. When I first found it, I was like, everyone needs to know about this. And everyone was like, oh, it's not my thing. That's too hippie. That's too this, that's too that. And I'm like, this is your one thing. Like you can live without steps. You can live without water. You can, not for long, but you can live without all of these things. You can't go minutes without your breath. And you're just like, no, it's not important. It's like, oh, excuse me. Yes, it is.
No, I totally appreciate that, because even from my perspective as a psychic medium, like it doesn't mean that you have to revolve your whole life around these understandings of breath work. Like it's something that we're doing already in our ways. It's just that if we can take little parts of it or incorporate the whole thing into our life, not everyone has to become a breathwork facilitator. Not everyone has to become a psychic medium, but there's these little tips and tricks and these insights that we can get that actually improves and benefits our journey.
And it's
like, I love that.
It's all the things, it's all the just coming home. It's like taking away all of the conditioning and all of the stories and all of the things that everyone thinks you need to buy and look like this and do like this. And it comes back to like the root of everything. It's not trying to, like, I'm not trying to sell you this or that. I'm just trying to say, like, focus on the way that you're breathing and it's going to change everything. And I think that once you've had an experience like you had at the Loom, or like I had that first time where you get it, you then maybe look at it more, and then maybe you notice your breath before you're about to do something, or you notice your breath when you're starting to feel really anxious, and you know that you can alter your state and you can take yourself there. It's just believing in it and just kind of giving yourself the space to do that. I think that's like a really important part about being held in a first breathwork session, or just giving yourself enough time to understand that you need to like push through the resistance. I think it's really important for those first times to just be like that, so that you do get it. And it's not just like you stay up in your head, or you don't get enough time, or you do the wrong session, you know, like you have an experience that can give you that belief in yourself. Because then it's just a reminder, like it's all just coming back to you.
That's it. And there's different techniques that can help with different emotions. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So at the moment, he's me taking advantage of that because she's sitting right here. But I woke up this morning feeling And now it's not usually something that I do, to be very fair, but I wake up feeling really anxious.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily suffer from anxiety like that. I mean, maybe I do. Maybe I block it out. I don't know. But like, what's a simple? I feel like I'm just making you do a class on me now.
I love
But
this.
well, for everyone listening, if we feel some real heavy emotions, what in your perspective and through your expertise is a real simple breath work exercise that we can do to center or calm?
So simply, this is the most simple. And for some people, it's almost so simple that they don't want that to be the answer.
I knew this would be it because that's why I wanted to talk about it.
It is. So it's coming back to heart coherence breath or coherence breathing. And coherence breathing is our nervous system's most optimal breath. And it's about 5.5 breaths per minute. And 10, and this, we can go into such a rabbit hole in this conversation, but currently, if you look at like what the World Health Organization says is a normal amount of breaths to take per minute, it's quadruple what it was 50 years ago, right? And like there's all these other rises and things, strange. But like the World Health Organization says like it's normal for you to breathe 12 breaths per minute or 15 breaths per minute, but like no, your nervous system actually is prime in 5 breaths per minute. So it's like bringing yourself back down to that, but it's really uncomfortable to sit in that slowness, and it's quite sticky and it feels quite awkward and like you want to rush it, but it's about like kind of trusting that just simply 6 minutes of doing heart coherence breath can completely change every single thing about your current reality. Less than that, really. Like if you just took 10 breaths at 5.5 seconds or even just 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, you're going to notice the biggest change. Unless you're like 5 coffees deep, empty stomach, and like sitting in it under, like there's maybe certain things that it won't completely fix everything, but most things, if you're taking just a few moments to yourself to just slow your breath down, you're going to change everything about the way that you're currently feeling. And the heart coherence breath is kind of, when I first found breath work, I really wanted to do the fast, hard, like Wim Hof, super intense mouth breathing, rah, 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 like that kind of chaos, because I always felt so chaotic internally that going up to that chaos then helped me come back down into this really zen space. But now I just want to do heart coherence. Now I just want to make it slow. Now that I like understand that the discomfort that I have to sit with to feel good in that is so worth it.
It's a bit like a Control-Alt-Delete on the system in some ways. It just really resets. Exactly. I love that. So it's 5 breaths a minute. 5
breaths per minute. So 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, and doing that roughly gets you.
Because even as you're talking, I'm paying attention to how I'm breathing, listening to you. And even if I hold my breath for 10 seconds, like not even 10 seconds, for 5 seconds, I'm like, I feel like I'm dying.
Yeah. So that's, we can do so many things. But also breathing into your belly, not into your chest. So many people come into the studio and I say at the start of class, especially in the more activating classes, I'm like, breathe into your belly. And I say, expand your belly. And then I say, if you're struggling to do that and you can't really breathe into your belly and that's feeling strange, put a hand on your belly and a hand on your chest. And sometimes over half of the class will put their hands on their belly and their chest. And that just blows my mind that people can't breathe into their bellies.
I don't think I can.
Yeah. See, that is the gas exchange that your body needs and is craving is sitting at the base of your lungs.
Yeah. So sometimes when I'm asleep, people think I'm dead because they actually can't really see me breathing.
Yeah. So I'm going to change your life. I know. I'm going to change your life. We're probably not going to do it right now, but I'm going to change your life.
I just turned this into a podcast episode because I wanted it to make it look like a podcast episode, but really this is therapy with Ella Pike. Like I need her to save my internals. That sounds really weird.
I love that. No, we're weird. We're being weird here.
No, I just think the conversation we'd be able to have would just be such benefit to everyone listening because as I said, I had a very rudimental understanding of breathwork, but I just knew that there'd be such a benefit to it and then being able to experience it firsthand. And I just think, again, it's such an easy technique for everyone to adopt in their own ways. So, and, to segue into the Breath Haus.
There's one more thing I want to quickly talk about that. Hold on before we segue
absolutely.
in, because I did something about the belly and the chest breathing. I need to talk about it. I used to be on multiple anti-anxiety tablets. I used to be on sleeping tablets. I used to try and get anything that would calm me down and like numb me out almost. And I remember I'd go to the doctor and there'd be like upping things. And then I learned about breathwork and I did my first breathwork course. And no, it was my second one actually, that they started to explain the difference between the way that we move and breathe and how it affects our bodies. And then I understood about the 2 types of breath. And I'd always been breathing into my chest. And I literally trained myself to breathe into my belly and it changed everything. But then I've done this test, right? Because no doctor has ever looked at the way that I'm breathing. I've gone to the doctor to get like blood scripts, and I've gone in and I've been like, oh, I'm getting really bad anxiety and I'm noticeably just breathing into my chest, and they don't even pay attention. Like, they don't know. And people are just going there, trusting that system and trusting that these people like have their best interests at heart, and they're not even looking at the way that you're breathing. And it's like these doctors who are idolized and put on these like pedestals. I know that everyone's just doing the best they can, and I get that, and they're just only, you know, just showing what they're taught. But it's like people put so much into these people, and it's like they have no idea.
Well, that's it. I say healthcare, it's kind of like a 5-part book series. And Western medicine's book 1. And you can't read book 1 and understand the whole series. And, you know, it's nothing against doctors. There's nothing against nurses. You know, for the most part, a lot of them are very good at what they do.
Yeah.
But my one criticism of Western medicine is that it does not actually look at the body. It doesn't know how to heal the body, and it doesn't know how to prevent. It knows how to treat. And admittedly, if you've been in a serious car crash, I don't think you should do breath work and acupuncture. You should probably go to the hospital, but that's it. But, you know, from a spiritual perspective, because I look at everything as energy, and energy builds up in the body, and that can obviously cause reactions. Western medicine doesn't look at that at all. Doesn't understand it. It doesn't know how to heal and treat it. It doesn't even teach us how to let go of it to prevent illness.
Yeah.
And breathwork would be the same in that sense, because of what the positive impact it can have on the body. So,
well, I always used to be in doctor's offices pre-breathwork. Like I'd always have I had tonsillitis a lot. I would have thrush a lot. I would have like all of these things just constantly, and I never understood. Like, it was just, I was always in the doctor, always on different antibiotics, always looking for something else. And now, like, don't get me wrong, like I've burnt myself out a few times since opening Breath Haus. There's been too many moments where like I don't understand the energy that I'm taking on top of like how much I'm not looking after myself. But I'm nowhere near as sick as I used to be. And I just, you know, I used to be scared of the sun, and now I'm like, oh, I mean, you know, like just
Give
so
me
many
vitamin
different
D,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, just constantly,
Absorb it in our
please.
skin.
Like, I just want to take it. But like, yeah, I have a very different life now, and I spend a lot less time sitting in a doctor's office.
Great to him.
Yeah, and I'm not like, I don't rely on anything, like no pharmaceuticals.
Good.
Just live for them.
Well, I always say if taking the pills helped our health, then we wouldn't need repeats.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't need script refills. It should work the first time.
Exactly. But it's so true what you said. Like, there's such a time and a place for Western medicine. Like, if you've been in a car accident, if something's happening, like you are there. But it's like we've just, you know, it's all part of this paradigm of like,
it just needs to be combined with everything else. There's such value in Western medicine.
Yeah,
but once you
100%.
combine it with energy, understanding, breath work, healing modalities, like let's combine it all together.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be afraid of that, everybody. And I think this is the next movement. So to segue into, God, Spirit really wants to go into your childhood.
We can go into my childhood.
Well, I was saying, you know, I was saying this to Ella off camera, everyone, but, you know, as a psychic medium who's got a podcast, we can't come on and not talk about spirituality. If, like, from your perspective, like, do you consider yourself a spiritual person? I know off camera you'd mentioned you'd never had a reading before, and like, obviously nothing wrong with that. But
I've never had a reading.
yeah, what's your viewpoint or your perspectives on spiritual side of things? How do you find that relating with breathwork? Do you find it relating with breathwork?
100%. I think that I mean, I've never had a reading, and I don't do.
She's about to.
Yeah, there we go. I don't have it. I probably don't give myself enough time to go and like be held by other people and other practitioners in other ways, for just maybe lack of time, maybe lack of, I'm not sure, but like I definitely,
Literally my next question is going to be like, do you feel like that you're actually getting back? Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that I'm just, you know, Breath Haus grew really quickly, and I didn't really understand. No one's ever done this. And so I didn't understand at the start what it was going to be like. And so I was like pushing hard, and I burnt myself out, and I was like, I can do this. What do you mean? Of course I can work 12-hour days. Like, I used to do that in beauty. Very different doing breath work and working with people's energy and like opening that portal with people to then like very different 12-hour days. And so I burnt myself out, and I kind of ran away from the world for a bit. And then now I've only just started to come back in the last, I would say, 3 months, and properly start to give myself the time and the space to do more things. And like, yeah, just like honor the fact that yes, this is a business, but it's also very much like
not a 9 to 5.
Yeah, it's not a 9 to 5. And it's like very it's a lot. I didn't before it was Breath Haus, it was just me doing it. I was a lash tech, and I was just doing it every now and again. And so I wasn't anywhere near as immersed as I was in doing this with people. And, you know, like, you know, reading energy and all that, it's a very draining thing, and I wasn't looking after myself. But now I'm starting to do the things that I want to do and like fill my own cup back up and see. Like I went and did I've done a few energy healings in massages, and I've done lots of that kind of stuff, but not as much as I would like to.
So what does filling the cup look like for Ella?
I love to read. Okay, so my phone needs to be off for me to fill my cup up. When my phone is on, I really, really struggle to actually ignore the work things that are in there.
I was hoping you would tell me that there was a breathwork technique that
Yeah.
could separate me from my
No,
phone, but that's okay.
unfortunately.
Okay, because I'm like, fuck, I
And
need help there. Yeah.
It takes me like honestly, like I try to turn my phone off and leave it on airplane mode as often as I can. And sometimes it takes me like a full 12 hours of it being away before I actually start to feel like I'm filling myself back up.
Oh, so you need to teach me that anxiety breathwork again, because even the thought of having my phone on airplane mode for 12 hours, I can't do that.
Yeah, see, no,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I went to an Airbnb last year in Tasmania and turned my phone off for 8 solid days. I left it on airplane mode. I was walking around like someone had stolen my child for the first day, and I was cleaning the Airbnb. I meal prepped.
And you're paying a bloody cleaning fee as well.
Yeah, I meal prepped my food for the 8 days on the first day because I'd turned my phone off. I was like, I've got to do stuff. And then I was like, oh no, you don't. And then it was just like this complete unraveling of the last year that I had. Yeah. And it's so freeing for me, but it is really uncomfortable. It is like it's quite a visceral reaction for the first couple of hours, but that's one of my biggest cup fills. Being in the ocean is a big cup fill moment for me. I go to True Thai massage and get a really strong head and neck massage a lot. I love that. What else? I really can't think of anything else right now off the top of my head that I do.
Well, what does
reading and
from a really personal perspective, what does Ella fear?
What does Ella fear?
Yeah. What's the shadow side of filling your cup? What are the things that
I fear slowing down?
Why is that?
Because I fear slowing down because here we go. Because I've always had this need to kind of be good enough for the masculine energy in my life. And that's very much playing out in the business partnership that I have now with my business partner. And he's very different to me, the polar opposite.
He's got a very cash.
He's just very get it done, do it, always doing, he's amazing and we're really wonderful as a team, but it's been quite interesting to be building this together because of how different we are and because of how different our opinions are of what is doing enough. And so I struggle to actually completely let myself stop because there's this constant need to like validate. I don't talk to my dad anymore because he's just a piece of work. I talk to him every now and again, but not much. And now it's kind of like that same, I can see it. Like I can see the needing the validation from my business partner now instead of my dad.
Yeah, nice.
So that's been an interesting thing to unpack as well.
So how did you and Nathan, I was going to say Nate Freeman, but I was like, people maybe don't know Nate Freeman, but Nate Freeman is the co-founder with you.
Yeah.
How did you and him connect in that sense anyway? Was he in Breathwork already?
No,
I know I'm making you talk on his behalf right now.
No, so we have a mutual friend, Charlie, and I was working as a receptionist at a gym, and I was doing this just 2 days a week because I just left a community that I'd built, and I really felt heartbroken, and I wanted that like sense of working somewhere. So I started working at this gym, and I remember like taking the job, being like, "What am I doing?" And now it all makes sense because I met Charlie, and from Charlie I met Nathan, and Nathan came to the gym with Charlie, and Nathan tells this story a lot. The first time we ever met properly was I was wearing a matching green tracksuit and I had a plate of salmon and raw prawns, and I got into the sauna on my break and ate the prawns and the salmon in the sauna with them and in my matching tracksuit, and he just said
in a tracksuit in the sauna.
It wasn't a very hot sauna. The saunas there weren't very hot, and it just had been turned on.
You'd hope not if you got seafood in there.
Sorry?
You'd hope not if you've got seafood in the sauna with you.
And I ate the seafood
and then she had
in
the
the
shits.
sauna. Yeah, then whoopsies. No, then I just sat there like having a conversation with Charlie and Nathan and maybe Zach. And then he just kept coming to train at the gym, and then I said to Charlie, you guys have to come to a breathwork class together. And this was when I was hiring a space, and him and Charlie came on Sunday night, and they laid down and did it, and then we all went out for dinner afterwards, and that's when we started talking about it.
I
And
love
he
that.
was just
And
like,
here we are.
this needs to be more. Like, he's like, that. He's like, you're so good at that. You need, like, what? Why aren't you doing this more? And I was like, I'm just a girl. I don't know. And then he was just, he's been everything that I could do, but I didn't do. And he's backed it and pushed it and been the one that like grounds me in it.
Good.
Yeah.
It's a good lesson in self-trust as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which it's a learning lesson for all of us, Ellen.
Yeah, it is.
So to get back into it, because as we're talking,
Yeah.
true to form, I'm feeling a lot of things.
Go. I want every download.
Yeah, but
that
let's
you're
jump
having.
into it. Yes, because I think first and foremost, even from my perspective, with what you do is actually so energetically connected. Anyway, I mean, you could probably be a medium in like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do a workshop now. No, but
Yeah,
but like I
I'll show you how
think
to
I mean
breathe. You show me
your
how to channel.
intuition is on point. I think with other people, I think you're a very good ability to read other people. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
What we do need to connect with though, because you've kind of got a few different energies coming forward. Because even off camera, I know for those listening, I was standing there with Ella. I'm like, "What's your connection with Byron Bay?" And then as soon as we sat down on these chairs, I got the name Rose, Rosie, Rosa.
Yeah.
Now, I know you validate that as your mother, but we've got a younger female that's floating around us at the same time.
So that's my niece. She was just born. Is that her?
No, this is in spirit.
Oh.
Oh. So we'll go with it. But
Okay,
then
younger
there's,
female. Yeah, keep telling me about her.
yeah, because it's sort of this validation about like I left the world without being able to communicate properly, or I couldn't say everything that I wanted to say.
Oh, I knew this was gonna come up. Yeah.
And she she honestly feels like a sister for you because it's this energy of coming in about wanting to protect and look after. And she says, I'm just so glad we're doing this, Dave, because I haven't been able to tell her this before, but I'm so glad she thinks of me all the time, or she still includes me in what she does.
So do you want me to tell you what it is? So my little sister, she had a best friend growing up. My sister who's just had this baby, she had a best friend growing up, and her best friend had a very very big family, and Talia used to come and spend a lot of time at our house and kind of just stay at our house when we were at Dad's. And she was connected to Dad's side of the house and Mum as well, like both sides had our own different things. And she took her life when they were 18. And she like just was so, yeah, no one could. She just was gone. She was there and then she was gone.
What's the connection with Ruby Rose?
Ruby Rose is my little sister's baby, so her best friend's baby now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see Ruby Rose, the woman in my head.
Yeah, Ruby Rose is my little sister's baby, my niece.
Please pass that on behalf of Talia.
Yeah, I will.
That she understands that Ruby Rose is now in the physical world.
Yeah.
But she honestly looks at you like a sister. Like it's like
she was like my little sister.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, she was honestly like, I knew that this was going to come up because I think about it all the time.
Well, that's it, because that's what she said. It doesn't matter how long I've been gone or the connection. It's sort of like I'm so thankful for her for thinking about me or including me all the time as well. And she spends a lot of time at the Breath Haus because all I can see in my head is the patterns on the walls.
Yeah,
So she says it's not in honor of me, Dave, but I know there's always the space for me there. If it is okay, she would like to talk about her passing because I know, unfortunately, you mentioned she took her own life, but she references, Dave, that I had tried before. But no one really knew that. So for her, it's an incredibly peaceful passing. I actually feel like I'm falling asleep. There is issues with being able to breathe, which I think would, I was about to say, which would maybe indicate how she unfortunately departed the physical world. But she's playing music as it's happening. Like, I don't know whether she had music around her or she had something on her that was playing music, but it's an incredibly peaceful like thing. All she's singing in my head because she's a bit of a bad bitch as well. Like even at 18, she's singing that song by MIA. She's like, live fast, die young, bad girls do it well. Yeah,
definitely.
But definitely passing on love to your sister,
I will.
and especially with the arrival of Ruby Rose.
Yeah, it's interesting. My sister my sister's very different to me.
She's, from Talia's perspective, she's just scared. Because your sister's got the element of control, because throughout life I didn't have control, or she didn't have control, she says. So now your sister's very much kind of how we were describing ourselves previously, where everything we see is black and white, and this is how life has to be, and this is how we have to do. If we include things, and it's not just for you and I, for everyone listening as well, if we include things in our life that are new or foreign, it can be very confronting.
Mm.
And sometimes we like to have our blinkers on because that's our survival technique of how we get through life.
Yeah.
Talia unfortunately references issues with family. So it's sort of like with growing up with her, there was a lot of instability and a lot of, from her words, being taken advantage of. So that can take multiple forms as well. But she says, I just don't want anyone to feel that they weren't there for me because I know that everyone was. She says, I just knew I wasn't really meant to be here anymore.
I think that's a message from my little sister because she tried
Feels
to call.
guilty.
Yeah, she tried to call my little sister all night. The night that it happened, she was trying to call Kate, and my mum. Kate was living in London at the time. My mum had just gone there, and she just landed with her partner and my granddad, and she was like, "We're out for dinner. Like Talia's going to be there tomorrow. Don't worry about it." And Kate was like, turn your phone off. And so Kate turned her phone off, and then Mum had to go down in the morning and tell her that had happened.
From Talia's perspective, she says, I just wanted to talk to her. She goes, I wasn't going to tell her that I was crossing over. It wasn't that, she says, in my perspective, it wasn't me saying goodbye to her. She says, I just wanted to say hello. She's so rough and tumble, but yet so gentle. Like she's like a broken bird, if that makes sense. You just want to look after her, but I know as soon as she learns how to fly, wings will smack me in the face.
Yeah, she's very much like that.
There's a very strong father energy for you, and I know that you mentioned your dad your father, pardon me, was Earth side. I always say there's a difference between father and dad.
There is. Definitely.
He's for me as well.
Definitely, I've got a father.
I've got a father too.
Yeah.
Who's turning into a dad, but father. Mum's father, I would say, is probably still Earthside.
He is.
Yeah.
He's on his last days, I would say, but he's very much
well,
still
that's
Earthside.
kind of what I was not alluding to, because Spirit never talks about when someone's going to cross over, but he takes on a very strong father energy for you at the same time.
Yeah.
Mum's crossed over.
Yeah.
Beautiful, because you've got a very strong female on Mum's side.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mess with her.
No, you wouldn't.
No, yeah.
You would not mess
she comes
with
over like,
her.
oh, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll behave. I love strong females in Spirit. They all are exactly the same. They kind of like scare me in a good way. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll behave. And there's also, I think Dad has unfortunately lost a parent as well. I don't know whether you know much about that.
Yeah, he's lost both of them.
Yeah, okay. I can feel his mum strong again.
Yeah, his mum is an interesting one.
Yeah. Your grandfather goes like that when he references your grandmother. So he's just saying, but she did unfortunately have mental health issues on Earth.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're like, yeah, Dave, we know.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know, and we didn't talk about it, but it was very
she validates a very interesting health journey with mental in the physical world, but a lot of that's from her childhood again, and the ability not to be able to communicate. But everyone is just so happy that you're here. They really are. Talia's just hanging out all over you. Let's take a quick break to talk about CeraQuin's moisturizing lotion with collagen. It's a multitasker made for both the face and body with 5 essential ceramides and collagen to hydrate, firm, and leave your skin feeling silky smooth and radiant. All that glow without the luxury price. Available now at Chemist Warehouse. And it's very vague, so if you can't connect with this, don't worry. But like, I kind of feel like I want to reference a car crash or vehicular incident. So I don't know whether anyone was like, unfortunately,
So the first person that I ever lost in my life was hit by a car on the road in year 7.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was a man.
He was a boy.
Oh, it was a boy. Sorry. Did you say
boy,
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know whether you said that out loud or not.
It was a boy.
Came forward with a feminine softness, but then there was like...
He was very soft man.
And then it went very masculine, and then it went feminine softness again. I was like, oh, I thought it was a man. But it is a man.
No, it's definitely a man.
Did you say Alex?
Yeah, Alex Wunsch.
Did you say that out loud?
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought I heard that very clearly in my head. I think you did.
Yeah,
It's me just taking credit for it anyway. No, I know he said he was hit by a car. He references being hit from behind.
Yeah, he did.
Again, I don't know whether he said that, but it was actually very clear in my head.
He ran into, so we were doing a school assignment in year 7 on road safety, and he was setting up things that were going to get hit by the car to film, and he ended up, someone overtook and didn't see him and hit him. Doing his school project.
Do you know what he just said? And I agree completely, but I didn't want to say it out loud. He goes, how ironic. I'm like, oh.
That's what we all thought.
Yeah.
Like, it was just...
You're doing a school assignment on road safety and you get killed by a car.
Killed.
Massive funeral as well, because he's very proud about, like, and I can appreciate that, you know, younger people, when they cross over, it's just devastating. So there's a lot of people that love them.
We shut the street. It was like we shut the street down.
He's a very handsome boy as well.
Yeah,
he's got a very sort of, like, as he sort of shows himself, and I know he wasn't in stage when he crossed over, but he sort of shows himself as like 18 to 20. He's got that very sort of surfery kind of gentle softness to him, but he says, I'm not a surfer, but we can appreciate that. But again, he looks at you more like my best mate sister vibe,
Yeah.
even though it's like this friendship connection. And there's also, I don't know whether mum or your father lost like a sibling, because it kind of feels like uncle auntie energy. It can also be great aunt or great uncle that we're bringing forward now with grandparents. Their grandparents and all that obviously are in spirit. Helen. Yeah, if you can't connect. So Helen's my auntie, but if you can't connect that instantly, don't worry. There's just a female that does come forward here.
No, I don't know Helen off the top of my head.
No, well, according to her, and this is a good out for me, but she said no, but someone will talk about me soon. So there could be someone in your life that actually mentions as their mother or auntie Helen that has crossed over.
Interesting.
But that might come up this week. So we'll touch base.
I will definitely touch base. 100%.
But yeah, you really are supported and have a guard from the younger energies in particular. Now, I know we validated grandparental energy for you, and Spirit was already telling me that your mum's father was Earth side.
Yeah.
He's definitely got issues with mobility. So my legs are really kind of sore and hips, and he also doesn't take proper care of himself.
He's pretty
stereotypical man, to be fair.
He's on his way. He's he doesn't really know what's going on anymore.
Yeah. It's right before you said that, it was the issue of cognitive. So when Spirit taps my head, it's cognitive. He's also got eyesight issues. So if that's not something that's happening now, it's about to happen on his right side.
Yeah, I think it's already happening.
So there's the opportunity apparently, and it's not suggesting that he'll cross over or you need to do it, but it's the element of going up to New South Wales. So is that where he's living now?
He's in Sydney,
yeah.
And I've been meaning to do it for the last couple of months.
Yeah, don't feel guilty for that. It's fine. Spirit knows, but it will sort of be an opportunity for you in some ways. What Spirit references is being able to have the soul goodbye, because you're probably thinking about that yourself already. Like this may be the last time I'm able to see him Earthside. What they want to validate is that it will be good for his soul to actually have the proper opportunity to say goodbye to the girls. Now, I know you mentioned you've had a sister as well. Do you have a brother?
I have a very big family.
Yeah, it feels it, because I've kind of got lines going everywhere, but then I can't sense them.
My dad's had three partners, and he's got 7 children. And so I've got 2 older sisters. I've got 1 full sister, and then I have 3 younger siblings, and there's 2 younger boys in the younger siblings.
Yeah, because you've got lines sort of going everywhere. Very personal question, but what's your fear around having children?
That I'm 30 and that I really want to know someone before I have kids with them, and I freak myself out, and I put other people's opinions on when he doesn't anymore, thank God, because I had a really big go at him. But my stepdad would always sit at the table and be like, "When are you gonna, you're gonna have kids? When are you gonna bring your man home?" Rah, rah. And I just ended up turning around and being like, "Shut the fuck up. That's your story. Like I've got so much other stuff."
That's it. Because talk about this in more, because it's such a common theme for females in particular, that their whole womanhood, and I say this as a man, so sorry to like mansplain it, ladies, but like your whole womanhood is placed on your ability to be a mother.
Yeah.
Or if you have, like, you're somehow less of a woman if you don't have kids.
Well, I cannot wait to have kids, but I do get quite fearful now that, like, I'm only just 30, and not that there's anything wrong. Like I feel like I've still got ages, but there's always this, like, I really don't want to repeat my own. I want to have a partner. I want to relive my own childhood through my person one day and through my own family. So there is this continuous, like, you're running out of time. You need to do this now. And then I think, like, to myself, I actually had this thought for the first time like 2 days ago, which I can't believe I'm saying it, but I was like, maybe your lesson is like that you're not going to have kids and that you're just going to have to, like, be okay with that. And then I was like, no, don't.
It's not. That's, it's speaking from fear, because even all the other kids coming forward in the reading, they're validating that if sort of like, if someone called you Pikey, but I know your name's Pike, so it's probably not too much of a stretch, but if she wants to be the mother, the journey is written.
Yeah.
So, I say this quite regularly, but if we're meant to have kids, it's already in our soul journey. Like, you can't bring another soul into this world by accident. So they're validating for you if it's sort of like, it will happen if you want it.
I really want it. I cannot wait to have kids, but I just really want to have kids, and I really want to be able to, like, be a safe and secure and, like, loving family. Not that my family's not loving. Like, my mom is my best friend, and I'm so grateful for my childhood. But, like, there were some things that now that I look back on, I'm like, whew, babe, that's character development for sure.
It's a good lesson for all of us, because when we're children, we look at our parents as superhuman, and we look at life as just something. I was fortunate enough to have a really nice upbringing. My mum's like such a solid support for me. But it's sort of like, it's only when we get older that we realize our parents were actually just fucking winging it. Like, they didn't know what they were doing. And half the time they're younger than we are now. Like, that's the thing. I can't imagine raising a teenager now. Like, my
My mom has 2 kids by the time she's my age.
Well, that's it. Like
Mm.
I'm 38. I mean, my mum had 2 as well by 38. Well, she had like a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old by that age. Like, I wouldn't know what to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Neither. Right now.
yeah, exactly. Well, like, fortunate for me, I don't want kids, and I'm very unlikely to get a woman pregnant, so that's okay. Platinum gay here, so that's okay. So they just don't want you to be fearful of that, which, it's like, we talked about this in the previous episode that I did, when it's sort of like if someone tells you to calm down, or instantly makes you calm, doesn't it? That's the thing. So if someone tells you not to worry, and it's like, oh, okay, everything's better. Spirit can appreciate, I can appreciate that even by saying that, it doesn't instantly make everything something like, oh, David the medium told me to calm down, or
No, but it's validating, because
that's it.
I do understand that, like, this is what I always say, like, every part of this journey, and like even the things that I'm going through now, and like the revelations I'm having, and the patterns that I'm seeing myself once again repeating in real time, I'm like, it's all part of it, and it's already written, and it will be what it will be. It was what it was, and it is what it is.
But I like that you're acknowledging that you're repeating patterns in some ways, because that's the hardest thing to do for a lot of us. We find ourselves in these habits and these journeys, and these, like, I find myself constantly doing it, but I'm also aware that I'm repeating it, but I also don't have the strength or the interest in changing it.
Mm.
And some of those can be quite toxic traits.
Yeah.
So, at least you're aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, the awareness is the first step to it, but then to actually, like,
To change it, it's
actioning
it's hard.
it's so
Yeah.
hard. It's so hard, especially when, like, there's I sound like an absolute tosser as I say this, but sometimes, like, I feel like people put me on a pedestal, and they see me as someone that maybe I am, but also I'm just the exact same as everyone else. So it's like very hard to, like, recognize and, like, be living through things, and then just wanting to be like, and rip it all apart, and be like, nope, I have to start again now.
I can
But
appreciate that.
But I have to just keep going for now.
That's the thing. And I have, this conversation with, friends of mine that, I'm not famous, and I don't want to be, like, I'm not doing what I do for fame, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate that I have a public image now.
Mm.
And it's something that I'm coming to terms with what you just said. Coming to terms is probably the wrong way to phrase it, but, like, I'm probably more aware now that there is David, and then there's David the medium.
Mm.
And it's exactly the same person. And I never want to change either one of them. But it's just people don't understand David, if that makes sense, because everyone sees David the medium. So it's like the main message that Spirit always says, it's sort of like, okay, well, who are you when you're by yourself and you're at home just being Ella?
Me,
Yeah.
well, like, it's like you would be David in front of your close friends, right? Like, your close friends know David.
Exactly.
And then it's like the character that you play is David the medium. And then there's some people that get, like, maybe a combination of both. But it's like the same with me. It's like I don't play. I think I'm very good at putting my hand on my heart and saying, I'm being this right now.
It's not disingenuous or inauthentic.
Yeah.
That's it. But it is roles that we play. That's
Yeah,
it.
it is. It's roles. And it's like, it is sometimes. This is why, this is a little bit off topic, but I'm going to say it. This is why, like, when anyone comes to me at the end of a class and they're like, you're amazing, you made me feel you did this, I'm always like, you did it. You actually are the one that did it. I didn't do it. I just set the vibes. You're the one who actually did that. That feeling that you're feeling is your feeling to feel, and that is yours wholeheartedly. Like, I appreciate that you're, like, you're putting us in the same category, but that's actually yours, and you can do that without me. I just am going to show you how to do that, So that's like but then also I think that I'm trying really hard at the moment to just, I don't know if I would have done it at the Loom with you, but I'm trying really hard to show more people just Ella, and to just be Ella, and to, like, sit up in front of the Loom and go, I'm really nervous. My mouth is really dry. I'm going to be a dork for a minute, and then
Nothing
I'm
wrong
going to
with
be
that.
normal. Exactly. And then as soon as I acknowledge it, and as soon as I, like, meet everyone where everyone else would be if they were sitting up there, like, I'm just the same as you all, it changes everything about the way I feel in that situation. And so, like, I'm trying harder in classes and online and in any interactions that I have to just be a little bit uncomfortable and be like, okay, this is actually me.
I get that, and
not
I appreciate
who I should
that.
be. Yeah.
It's like me when I started doing live shows, because I started that just over a year ago now. And that was everyone's opportunity to see me face to face in a group setting, because David the medium had never done that.
Yeah.
And I got up the front. I'm like, I'm not going to get up and be a spiritual expert and be all, because I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I'm going to get up and I want them to see me as David the medium.
Yeah.
So and I'm still a fucking smart ass. Put a microphone in front of my face and I just pop off. Like, it's so casual and fun. But it's incredibly humbling at the same time to have people see, because I take everything I do for granted. I really do. Like, I feel like when I talk about spirituality, it's something that's so natural to me now that maybe sometimes I don't appreciate the impact it can have on people, especially when I'm able to read for them. And I imagine breath work would be the same for you.
Well, this is like about spirituality. I think that, and I know that you have some of the same thoughts that I do. I think that like I also take it for granted in the sense that like, and maybe this is a bit off topic, but I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to turn on the tap and drink tap water. I'm not going to brush my teeth with certain things. I'm not going to like do certain things anymore. And it's just like my ingrained thing. And I don't think much of it. I know to take deep breaths. I know that I'm not going to go and drink a whole bottle of wine when I'm feeling overwhelmed. Like one glass is good. You know, like I understand these things, but then there's other people who are like still, you know, doing all of these things and keeping themselves here and doing all this stuff. And I'm just like, bro, are you kidding me? And it's like, it's true. It's just so normal now for me that it's not hoo-ha anymore. It's just my life. But then other people see it and, you know, maybe they do learn about, like the first time I laid in a yin yoga class, I was like, oh my God, this isn't normal yoga. Like, what is this? This is life-changing. But, you know, that's everyone else's norm. But for me, that was like the next thing. And now that's just normal for me. But then I push someone else into it and they're like, oh, that wasn't like yoga. And I'm like, no, I know it's not like yoga. It's like very different.
Well, that's it. That's why I said to everyone, this is so important to be open to seeing other sides of things. Even if you're having debates on fucking politics or whatever it is, be open to seeing other sides, because, you know, I was exactly the same. Like, and for a lot of people, it is a survival technique. Like this is how we manage. And if we can do all these traits and we still get through the day, then great. I don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
But when we can incorporate things and do things and change things, like I remember, you know, as you were telling the story then, that I used to work with this lady, we're talking 10 years ago, and we were talking about vaccines, and she said, oh, I don't vaccinate my kids. I remember thinking like, oh. And now I still see the benefit in vaccination, but now I get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas back then I was like, okay, she's clearly a Byron Bay hippie. Like, you know, to bring Byron Bay to.
That's exactly it.
But then it's sort of like, okay, the more that I explore things, the more that I change my mindset, the more that I'm open to other opinions. It doesn't mean that I have to adopt everyone else's opinions, but now I can appreciate differences.
Exactly. And just like understanding, I think, is so important. Is like, if you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be so closed off to anything, like how are you supposed to grow? You know what I mean? Like you don't know anything. You don't know what you don't know. And like you're allowed to change your opinion at every 5 minutes. And like, you know, maybe then you were thinking, oh, this chick needs to understand a little bit more about what a vaccine can do. And now you're probably like, okay, cool. I respect that because I can see past it and I've zoomed out.
Yeah, there's benefits to it. There's negatives to it. It's like anything in life. Like anything in life. I'm not anti-vax. I'm not pro-vax.
Yeah.
I didn't get the flu shot. I was forced to get one COVID shot. Oh, that's a story, guys. I won't tell that on a podcast, but I'll tell you that another time.
I would love to know that one.
I'll tell you off camera.
Do you know when COVID started, I was so petrified of everything, and I was like double masking, and I was wearing gloves, and I was Detolling people in the street, and I was like, my ex-boyfriend's friend would come to the house, and I'd like Detol them before they walked in, and then like after my first breathwork session, I was like, oh, it's a game. Not that it's a game. It's not a game. Sorry, that's the wrong thing to say.
Oh no, I would suggest it might be. Yeah.
It's like it's not. Like as soon as I kind of had that first experience with breathwork, I never saw anything the same again, and
it changes our perspective on fear.
Yeah, and it changes our perspective on like, if this is how I'm feeling right here, and I've been spending the last 5 years begging other people to help me feel differently, and no one's ever turned around and said suggest breathwork except for the nut jobs in my life, then hold on, what? Like what?
There's something to explore here.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Beautiful. So before we do finish, Ella Pike, is there any questions that you have for me about life?
I would actually, no,
so I've still got one for you. But,
no, okay. I want to know when the first time you realized you had the power that you had.
I was talking about for you, but okay, I can answer that.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I want to know.
I was 24.
You.
Another medium told me I could do it, and I didn't believe in it.
And you just thought it was again hoo-ha?
No, I was a natural skeptic. I thought it was hoo-ha. I was like, my background's corporate, so I was working in corporate, being like, oh, what? There's people that talk to the dead. I mean, good for them. It's not for me to say it's not real, but how weird.
Yeah, and then someone told you?
I had an experience with it.
Yeah.
She told me I could do it. I'm like, no, I can't. She goes, come to my workshop. Came to a workshop. Here we are.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's just, as I said, it's about remaining open. You don't have to agree with everything. You don't have to discount everything. Just be open to hearing it.
Okay, what questions do I have?
About life.
About life.
And then I've got one for you to finish, but yeah, any questions for me?
Like what do you mean?
About your life. Anything you're seeking guidance on that Spirit and I can help with. Do my job for me. Ella.
Okay, yes. There's some very big conversations that I'm having with lots of people in my life at the moment around how do I say this?
Spirit's telling you to set boundaries. And
Yeah.
Just be very, yeah. So before you even finish it, I'll let them answer it. Yes.
Yeah, go, you
It's
answer
telling them
it.
to setting boundaries because you already know the answers. Just don't be afraid of pissing people off.
Yeah, okay. That's
So
what I
don't
need to
think
say.
that you have to shape and change who you are to suit and accommodate someone else.
Yeah, okay.
If there's a plane crash, Ella, there won't be, by the way, but if there's a plane crash and all the masks come down, whose mask are you going to put on first? Yours or theirs?
Yeah, there you go.
You have to, because you can't be the best that you can be for everyone else
Mhm.
unless you're looking after yourself first.
Exactly.
So set defined boundaries, and then they said, don't be afraid of pissing people off
Yeah,
because you're not
that's
pissing
what I
them.
needed
Yeah,
to answer.
done. And one final question before I let you go.
Yes.
I'm holding you hostage. We're going to do a breathwork session after this.
I would love that.
We've got the
honestly
time.
love that.
If you could go back to 12-year-old Ella, what's one piece of advice you would give her? Or what's one thing you would want her to know?
Oh, it sounds so cliche, but just like she doesn't have to, she's enough. Like exactly how she is she doesn't have to put on masks or wear makeup or do the eyelashes and all of the things, and she's good. And just because there's some people in her life that put conditions on her, it doesn't mean that she needs to take them on.
I love that. And where can everyone find you on socials?
On socials, you can find me. I'm the Breath Boss. That is my character. That is who I play. And the Breath Boss of the Breath Haus. If you're interested in finding out about breathwork, there's literally now an app that you can go in. So you don't have to go into a session. You don't have to go. I can guide you in the app, and it's free for 7 days.
Great.
I need to say that. Because like people get so scared about coming into classes, and then they're like, I don't want to join the live class because I'm publicly there in the live class. There's a vulnerability
around it. Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, no, there's all these sessions right there in the app for you.
Amazing.
I need to say that. Okay, that's all. Okay,
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. That was so nice.
I'm waving at you across the couch.
Bye.
Lucky right there.
See ya.